I want to tell you about my personal health metrics that I've just started tracking on a weekly basis. They're non-invasive and you can use them too if you have devices like the Galaxy Watch 6 or the Mi Band 8. Now, you don't need both of these devices or both of these fitness trackers to track your metrics, but there are reasons why I'm using the Mi Band 8, which I'm going to discuss in the video, including PDI or the vitality score as well. So let me tell you about these amazing health metrics that you can track, which are non-invasive, and you can do them on a weekly basis and can make a world of difference when it comes to your health. I suggest every person track these metrics on a weekly basis or at least on a monthly basis to make sure that they're on the right track when it comes to your health. Because remember, health is the number one thing you should focus on. Just imagine the number 1 million or 1 billion or how many zeros you want to put after the one. Everything else that comes after the one, like your money, your personal relationships, your reputation, everything else goes away, falls apart if you take away that number one, which resembles your health. So let's get started. I want to show you these metrics right now. In my previous videos, I talked about the Galaxy Watch's amazing health features and metrics that you can use, including, for example, body composition, which measures things like skeletal muscle and body fat percentage, and things like blood pressure. So you can measure your blood pressure, which is pretty much accurate on your Galaxy Watch. And of course, in addition to things like oxygen saturation, which we're going to discuss as well, which is very important, by the way. I didn't know how important this thing is until now. I'll tell you why. In terms of sleep apnea, stress is also an important thing to track. You got to try to reduce your stress. And of course, your other metrics like your activity levels, your heart rate, and things like that. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I'm excited to show you my health metrics protocol, weekly health metrics protocol. I've devised this plan and I'm checking these metrics weekly. I've just started. Now, I've connected my Galaxy S23 Ultra to my laptop so I can better show you everything on the screen by using Samsung DeX. And let's get started with the first metric. So first of all, you got to check your weight and BMI. If you notice, I set up all of these reminders to be on Saturday, approximately at 11 a.m. So all of these things I'm going to be checking every Saturday at approximately 11 a.m. First of all is to check your weight. Obviously, you need a scale to do that. Now let's go to, where is that? Yes, body composition. It's under body composition right here. Now let's talk a little bit about weight. The most important thing is to check your weight, first of all, but I want you to understand that your weight is not the be-all, end-all of health. It is a good measure of health, but it's not everything because you could be having normal weight, but you're not healthy. However, it's a good start. Just to give you an idea of how this looks like, past 7 days. Okay, these are the times I've checked my weight before. So record your weight into the app. The app will ask you, if you have a Galaxy Watch, it will automatically ask you to record your weight in order for it also to calculate your BMI. So you can see my weight was fluctuating before. And after you record your weight, now let's see a little bit more about weight, body composition. So your weight is determined by your age, gender, genetics, diet, and activity level. And finding the right weight for you can be a challenge. Instead of focusing on weight alone, it can help to consider weight in combination with body composition. For example, adding muscle and reducing fat can be a healthy change, even if your weight stays the same. Now, for me, that's the beauty about the watch. The watch can calculate for you automatically the normal range for your height, age, and gender. For me, it's going to be between 59.9 kilograms and 81 kilograms. Now, that was the first one. Then I'm going to calculate, or I'm going to check my body mass index weekly. And body mass index, of course, let's go back to about body composition. So body mass index is a ratio of height to weight that's widely used to measure healthy weight. Because body mass index does not consider body composition, it's not right for everyone. It's true. A muscular person can have a high BMI, but low body fat. Use BMI in combination with body composition to understand what kind of diet and exercise is right for you. Now, the watch again calculated the normal range for me, for my height, age, and gender, and that is 18.5 kilograms per meter squared, up to 25 kilograms per meter squared. That's the normal range for me. And as you can see, this is the graph for body composition. Let's go back to the last 7 days. Okay, that was from August 28 to November 21. These are the snapshots of my body mass index. So the last one I took was 22.6. Those were the first two metrics. Let's check that. Once you calculate these two, that'll be great. Now, the awesome thing about having a watch like the Galaxy 6 watch or any other fitness tracker like the Fitbit or the Apple Watch is that these devices can calculate these things for you automatically and have logs and data and archives of your health metrics. So you don't have to use pen and paper and all these things to track them down, which is much easier and much more convenient, at least for me. The next metric that I will track is body composition. So this is body composition, and the most important metrics for body composition would be body water, fat mass, fat percentage, and skeletal muscle. The most important thing for me is body fat. Let's check body fat. The last reading I had was 20% body fat. Now, if you don't know, the Galaxy Watch, starting from the Galaxy 4, has a body composition feature. It calculates all of these things using something called BIA, bioelectric impedance analysis, and Galaxy claims this thing is 98% accurate in comparison to DEXA scans, or was it 97% accurate? So body fat percentage is the amount of body fat as a proportion of body weight. This could be more useful than BMI, which does not distinguish between your body fat and other body mass. Your body needs fat, but too much can be unhealthy, and many factors can affect your body fat percentage, including your age, gender, and genetics, how you eat, and how physically active you are. So for me, again, the watch can calculate the range for my age, gender, and that's 15% up to 22.3%. However, my target, I want a fat percentage of 13%. So you could program your watch to have a target fat percentage as well. Now let's go back here. Let me check. Where is my target? Yes, this is my target progress. So I want a weight of 73 kilograms and a fat percentage of 13%. Right now I'm at 19.6. So this is my journey. And you can tell the watch how long you need to achieve your target. So that's going to be, let's say, in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks. And then, of course, I want higher skeletal muscle gain. So instead of 31 kilograms, I want 37 kilograms of muscle. You can program all of these things into your watch. So that was the second metric that I checked. Check body composition. The reason these two are very useful is that, first of all, you're checking your weight and your BMI. You will know if you're gaining weight, how much is your BMI, are they in the healthy range? And of course, your body composition, if you are putting on more body fat, which is not great, and if you have more or less muscle mass. And also, we forgot to talk about body water. So it tells you if you have enough water in your body. So for me, the last reading was 43.9 kilograms. And I admit, I started drinking less water. So you can see previous readings were above 45 kilograms. This one was, the last reading was 43 kilograms. So body water is the percentage of your total mass that is water, usually around 50% to 70%. Most of that water is in your cells, in your muscle cells, which are over 70% water. Body fat contains very little water. That means that your body water percentage tends to be higher if you have a lot of muscle and very little fat. More fat or less muscle can mean a lower percentage of body water. Now, of course, body water is also affected by exercise and environment. If you're working hard, very hot, or both, you can lose water quickly, so it's important to rehydrate after exercise. If your weight in the morning is generally stable and your urine isn't dark, you're probably getting enough water. So this is important. If your urine is not very dark, you're probably getting enough water. Now, this is the normal range for my height, age, and gender, between 40.5 kilograms and 44.3 kilograms. And my last reading was 43. The next health metric that I want to check is, which is very important, by the way, the resting heart rate. Let's go to heart rates. Now, for heart rates, you can see here the watch records a lot of heart rate data because it was set to continuously monitor heart rate. And the most important metric is to check resting heart rate. Resting heart rate can tell you a lot about your heart health. And let's see here for the last 7 days, for example. Okay, these are the minimum and maximum averages. I was exercising hard a couple of days ago. The resting heart rate. Okay, so the resting heart rate is 59 beats per minute, and a low resting heart rate is typically a sign of good heart fitness. This is extremely important, guys. As a matter of fact, you can also measure your resting heart rate first thing in the morning. So resting heart rate is the number of times your heart beats per minute while you're at rest, and a low resting heart rate is typically a good sign of good heart fitness aerobic exercise can help to reduce your resting heart rate over time. So check your resting heart rate and see if it improves. If it decreases, that means you're doing better, usually if you're a healthy person. And if it increases, that means, well, it's not necessarily bad, but it's much better to have it reduced than increased. Now, how to measure your resting heart rate? Your resting heart rate is automatically measured when you set your watch to measure your heart rate continuously. Measurements are taken when you're still or at rest. Wearing your watch regularly helps us measure your resting heart rate more accurately. So these are resting heart rate ranges for males, and I am in this group range, and the average range is between 61 to 76. Now, of course, if you can see here, the last 31 days, you see it fluctuates. Resting heart rate fluctuates according to your lifestyle, your fitness level, and all of that stuff. Okay, so for the last 31 days, the average resting heart rate was 62, and for the last days, it was 60. For the last 7 days, it was 60. So after checking that, then I will check the heart rate recovery, and this is extremely important, guys. Heart zones and heart rate recovery. So let's go back here. You can check it by going to the workouts this week, and let's say, for example, this boxing workout right here. I did it as a test. You can see the heart rate zones, first of all, right here. And these are calculated based on your age. And the maximum is, for me, 178 beats per minute. Okay, and the aerobic and anaerobic and maximum. So if I go back here, this is going to show my workouts in the zones. And this is the part that is very important, which is heart rate recovery. You should calculate heart rate recovery after exactly 1 minute. So after 1 minute, my heart rate recovery was 24 beats per minute. At 125, it was 144. You can check more videos on heart rate recovery and how important it is. If you're anywhere less than 12, you got to see a doctor immediately, because science says that heart rate recovery can predict cardiovascular health and mortality. So check your heart rate recovery and hopefully it'll be better. So for me, it's 24. I'm actually disappointed. I'm not very happy with this. I would love for my heart rate to be in the 30s. Let me see another workout here. By the way, it can vary. So check different workouts and check your heart rate recovery based on that. Let me see this running workout, for example. For this running workout, my heart rate recovery is 20. Not that great, but still okay. I'm planning to improve that. And let's see another workout. Here's one shocking workout I don't understand. For this particular workout, I was at maximum at zone 5. This was a jumping jacks workout, and my heart rate recovery was extremely well. I'm not exactly sure how this happened. Well, from 169 to 112, that's 57 beats. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe because it was a very intense workout and it was at zone 5. So anyway, check your heart rate recovery. My average heart rate recovery right now would be in the 20s, 22 maybe, or something like that, 23. I'm not very happy about that. But anyway, check your weekly heart rate recovery and see if you're improving or not. And that is a very important metric to check. So there you go. Check that. Next is to check your blood pressure. And now the beautiful thing about Galaxy watches is that it has the blood pressure feature. I got a lot of people asking me, why is this feature not available in the US? Unfortunately, it is not, because Samsung did not get the FDA clearance yet. So if you're living in the United States, this feature is not available, unfortunately. But in other parts of the world, like for example, for me, I'm living in the UAE, in Dubai, it is available and it works really well. So if I open Samsung Health Monitor, let's go to blood pressure. The last time I took my blood pressure was 117/73. This is the systolic, this is the diastolic, and the watch can also log all of these recordings for you, and that is great. So here are some of the readings. This is an excellent way to track and check your blood pressure. Now remember, guys, the point is not to become overly worried about your health and to become a hypochondriac. That's not the point here. Taking one measurement on a weekly basis is not a bad idea. It's actually a good idea. And I'm not saying you should check every single day these things. I mean, first of all, before you do anything, you have to consult with your doctor. Of course, this is not meant for medical advice, but I'm just saying checking these metrics on a weekly basis is an excellent idea. And by no means is it too much, okay? So checking your blood pressure, that's number 4, and then checking weekly stress levels. Now, the watch checks your stress throughout the day because it is continuously monitoring your stress. And let's see how that works. We measure certain biomarkers to determine your stress level. Your stress measurements will be more accurate the more you measure your stress. You can measure your stress level continuously with a compatible Samsung watch or brand, of course, or band. This is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 6, and it can continuously monitor stress. And stress measurements will pause during activity and when Samsung Health detects that you're sleeping. Your stress measurements don't necessarily reflect how you're feeling, but you can add a note about your emotional state to go with the measurement. Now, the way this thing works is with heart rate variability. It detects stress by heart rate variability, and it's a good idea to check your stress levels in the past 7 days and make sure that they're not very high. So for me, I had a normal stress level of, let's say, mild to moderate. Nothing too crazy. If it is high, then you got to ask yourself what is going on. And if you have a lot of stress, we all do, check the averages here. Sometimes if your stress levels are high, you can simply go to the stress feature on the Galaxy Watch and then go through breathing exercises. That can really help, guys. So through relaxation, meditation, progressive relaxation, and deep breathing exercises, the watch can actually help you reduce your stress levels. And stress is very important to keep an eye on. I understand that your view on stress matters. I believe in what Dr. Kelly McGonigal said about stress, but I also believe at the same time that reducing stress is equally important. It's not just reducing stress, it's also the way you think about stress. If you think that stress is going to kill you, well, it might kill you at the end of the day, God forbid, if you think that it will. So the way you think about stress really matters, but try to reduce your stress as well. And breathing here, so deep breathing is one of the best ways to lower stress. And the watch tells you this is how you do it. You press go for 1 minute, for example, and 5 seconds or 2 minutes. You have deep breathing and you hold your breath for 3 seconds. And you exhale for 6 seconds, you inhale for another 6 seconds. That really helps your stress. So check your stress levels, guys, every week to make sure that they are normal and healthy. The next one is VO2 Max progress. And guys, I was actually shocked about this one. I really thought my VO2 Max was good, was excellent actually, but it was not. And I was shocked about that, and I need to work on that. So if I go back to the workouts this week, if you look at your VO2 max, let's say, for example, this running activity, it gives you the VO2 max right here. And it says that my VO2 max is fair. Now, this was scary. Guys, if you don't know what VO2 max is, it's one of the most important predictors of cardiovascular health and, well, mortality in general. God forbid, may all of us have long, healthy lives. But VO2 max is extremely important. And to understand what it is, let's go here. Your VO2 max is your maximum oxygen uptake or intake during exercise. It's measured in milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of body mass per minute. VO2 max is a common measure of cardiorespiratory heart and lung health and endurance. A higher number is better. The VO2 max measurements provided in Samsung Health are estimates based on the heart rate. So for me, I got a rating of fair, and that was shocking for me. However, that is at the end of the sedentary life spectrum, which is 40. Sedentary people usually have VO2 max of 35 to 40. So I should really start getting more exercises. The source for this is the American College of Sports Medicine. If you look at different sources, they have different readings and different categories, but this one is from the American College of Sports Medicine. The point is, guys, focus on getting a better VO2 max reading because this is very, 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 very important. I can't stress this enough. It's extremely important for your overall health. Well, theoretically, you can improve your VO2 max up to, maybe 20% or even a little bit higher than that. So you can improve your VO2 max as well. And this is some more information if you're interested in knowing more about VO2 max, including percent VO2 max levels and exercise. And that's VO2 max progress. So I will check this. Now, the beautiful thing about the Mi Band, and this is one of the reasons I want to use the Mi Band as well, is that it tracks your weekly VO2 max. You can see here, it tracks your VO2 max on a weekly basis. So it gives you a weekly summary of your VO2 max, and that was also 40. By the way, guys, when the first time I got this for my watch, which was 39.6 or something like that, 40, I was so skeptical of it. I thought the watch was crazy. I thought it was completely inaccurate. So I did another test. I got the Mi Band 8 and I did the same workout. I wore both of the fitness trackers and I got the same exact measurement, which was 40. I was shocked. And then I decided maybe both of these trackers are wrong and maybe it's just a coincidence. So then I thought I'd ask ChatGPT and how to calculate VO2 max manually. And ChatGPT told me about the Cooper mile test, which is a 1.5 mile test, 2.4 kilometers. You have to run it as fast as possible and record the duration that it took you to finish this run. After all the calculations, guess what my VO2 max was? It was 40 again. So bottom line is, for me, for these particular two fitness trackers, the VO2 max was pretty much accurate. And this is a different type of categorization. It says here VO2 max is normal. Yeah, I mean, it's not excellent or great. So let's learn a little bit more about VO2 max. It represents the maximum volume of oxygen uptake measured during incremental exercise at maximal effort, and it's an indicator of aerobic endurance and capacity. Using the Mi Band 8, you can track your VO2 max on a weekly basis, and that's the beauty of the Mi Band 8. In addition to the vitality score and the PAI, I'm going to talk about this in a bit. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me talk about it now. Vitality scores. Yeah, so this summarizes everything. Vitality score can be used to assess the positive impact of personal exercise on health. Regularly reaching a 7-day vitality score of 100 can have significant positive health impacts. So your score is based on the WHO guidelines of the physical activity and sedentary behavior, which recommend that all healthy adults engage in at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, or 75 to 150 minutes of high intensity exercise per week, or an equivalent combination of moderate and higher intensity exercise. At the same time, a little exercise or physical exercise is better than none, so you got to replace your sedentary time with low intensity exercise, and that has health benefits. Now, how is it calculated? It's customized based on your age, resting heart rate, maximum heart rate, and workout data for the past 7 days. You can earn vitality points by exercising while wearing your device. Higher intensity exercise will earn you more vitality points in a shorter amount of time. And as your vitality score increases, it becomes more difficult to earn more points. I remember this, guys. Now, the goal is to have 100 per week. Why is it calculated on a 7-day basis? Because vitality score is a health indicator for the past 7 days. You don't have to exercise on any given day, nor exercise every day. You can earn vitality points by exercising at any time within the 7-day period. So if you don't exercise today or tomorrow, that's not a problem. You can exercise some other day and you can check your score. In terms of how many vitality points you can earn up to 80 vitality points per day. So theoretically, you could reach a score of 560 points over 7 days. However, as your score increases, it becomes very difficult actually to earn more points. So guys, this is one of the reasons I love using the Mi Band 8, which is the vitality score, previously called PAI. Where did it go? Yeah, right here. The vitality score. I need a little bit more work so to get it to 100. VO2 max weekly is another reason for this, and that's beautiful. Also, one of the other reasons I like using the Mi Band is that it gives you alerts if your oxygen goes below 90 while awake. That is a very nice feature, and that I'm going to talk about in a bit. Okay, so next is to check any irregular heart rate notifications. La samahallah, in Arabic meaning God forbid. This is a very important feature, and as a matter of fact, Galaxy Watches got this update where you can get a notification of any irregular heart rate that has been going on for more than an hour. So check Samsung Health Monitor for any notifications on that, if you have any notifications popping up for any irregular heart rate notifications. Now, as for ECG, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm very disappointed with Samsung's ECG because on multiple occasions it erroneously gave me signs of atrial fibrillation, and I freaked out. This did not happen once. It happened multiple times before. You see here atrial fibrillation, and I checked with my cardiologist, and he reassured me that it's fine. I mean, it happened multiple times in the past few years, so I concluded that atrial fibrillation is not very accurate, or ECG is not accurate on this watch. So do not rely on this watch for atrial fibrillation. However, the cardiologist said the watch can still be very useful because it gives data. The cardiologist can still read your ECG, so that is still useful. And irregular heart rhythm notifications are also very, very useful. So the conclusion that I came up with is if you don't get a notification, that's okay. But that does not mean that you don't have a disease. Again, God forbid, nobody wants to have an irregular heart rhythm problem. But I'm just saying that you cannot depend on your watch to rule out any medical condition. If you suspect you have any kind of medical condition, the best thing to do is to go to the doctor and for the doctor to perform a medical grade ECG 12 lead, and you get all the data. So the point is I'm trying to make, don't rely on ECG at least from Galaxy watches. They're not very accurate. On multiple occasions, they caused me a lot of panic. On one occasion, I called the ambulance. And the paramedic told me that these kind of consumer-grade devices have a problem with identifying faster heart rate. So if you take your ECG, make sure that your heart rate is less than 100, because if it's more than 100, it might incorrectly interpret tachycardia or the normal, faster heartbeat due to any cause, stress, or physical activity as irregular heart rhythm. Check any irregular heart rate notifications. I don't recommend checking ECG though. But if you have an irregular heart rate notification, it's a good idea to check your ECG right then and there. And to be more sure, go visit your doctor. If, God forbid, you get a heart rate rhythm notification, the best thing to do is to go to the doctor to check everything. Check weekly sleep data. Now, this is very interesting, guys. I got to tell you what happened. And I want to tell you something very important about sleep data. Yes, I know. I made a video that says don't use the Samsung Galaxy sleep monitoring feature. And I still stand by this because it is awfully inaccurate in terms of, for example, REM sleep, deep sleep, light sleep, all these things. And the sleep score that you get, because on multiple occasions I got a sleep score that is bad, and that was not true because I felt rested and good in the morning. And on other days, I got a sleep score, which was good, but I still felt bad. So you can't rely on this. I made a full video on that. Check it out if you have the time. So don't look at this data, which is sleep factors and all of that. What really interests me is this part right here, which is oxygen saturation during sleep. Because I got freaked out. For a long time, I've been having problems breathing during sleep. I disregarded that for a long time. And I thought, you know what? Maybe it's just anxiety. My wife chalked it up to anxiety. But the point is, it's a good idea to check your blood oxygen levels when you're sleeping and making sure that they're above 90%. If they dip just for a bit, that's not a problem. But remember, guys, this is not a medical grade device, and you can see gaps here. These gaps happen when the watch is not in a proper position or if it's too cold. But still, it gives you good readings. I mean, you would know if something is wrong. So let's go back to blood oxygen here. You can see last night it was good. Anything above 90 is good. Let's go to above or about blood oxygen. So your blood oxygen level is an indicator of how effectively your blood is carrying oxygen throughout your body, which can tell you whether you're breathing effectively. Also known as SpO2, saturation of percutaneous oxygen, your blood oxygen level is a measure of the percentage of hemoglobin in your red blood cells that's oxygenated. For example, if it's 98, that means your hemoglobin is 98% oxygenated and 2% not oxygenated. Now, this is important. A healthy range is 95% to 100% when you are at rest. Factors like vigorous exercise, the amount of oxygen in the air, the elevation of various health conditions can all result in lower readings. But what you have to know is, if you're awake, it's anywhere between 95 to 100%. If it dips below 95%, you got to be alerted. You got to be careful. It should not dip below 95% if you're active, if you're awake. If you're sleeping, it can naturally dip all the way to 90%. If it dips below 90%, you should get that checked out. Now, I got freaked out because I noticed sometimes that my oxygen level dips. And let me show you in some of the days. Look at this one, 74. That freaked me out, man. 74 to 99%. But you have to check the readings go back to the sleep option and check the readings. Now, this got better. At least I was alerted to it. This got better as I started sleeping on my side, because I noticed when I sleep on my back, I don't breathe properly. Now, these are very helpful because this might tell you, it's an indicator. It might tell you if you have sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is a serious problem, guys. It can cause a lot of problems. And I'm going to see a doctor about that just to make sure that everything is fine. The problem, though, is that if you want to properly diagnose sleep apnea, you have to go for a sleep study, which is expensive and not covered under insurance. Polysomnography, that's the name of the test. So that is finished. Check weekly sleep data. I forgot to say the weekly sleep data means how many hours of sleep, bedtime, and all of that. If I go back here, actually this was for the SpO2 averages, so I checked SpO2 averages. Now I'm going to check sleep data. So guys, check your weekly sleep data. So for me, it was 6 hours and 47 minutes for the last 7 days. Not exactly good, honestly. I admit my sleep schedule was messed up. Previous week, kept sleeping late, 2:30, 3 a.m., not exactly the best, and didn't get enough sleep. So check your sleep data. And I can't stress this enough, guys. Sleep is the most important health metric that you have to check because sleep is the foundation of every other health metric out there, every other thing that you can do that you think is healthy. Because sleep gives you the foundation of everything else, that is diet, exercise, and everything else. Watch Matthew Walker's video on sleep. He's an expert on sleep. He's a scientist. Watch his TED Talk on sleep. Sleep is the Swiss Army knife of health. So make sure you're getting between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day. I'm not happy with that. Look at that. For the last month, I was getting 6 hours and 18 minutes. You should get at least 7 hours of sleep. So check sleep data. And then we talked about SpO2 averages. And finally, you got to check your basal metabolic rate, the BMR. And that can be very useful. Where is the BMR? Yeah, it's right here. BMR is this one. So for me, my last reading said 1,642 calories. That was the average range. The higher your basal metabolic rate, the more calories you burn at rest. Let's see what that means. BMR is the amount of energy your body uses while at rest for things like heartbeat, breathing, and digestion. This is most of the energy that you use every day. Your BMR, along with your activity calories, can give you a way to understand how many calories you need in your diet to lose, gain, or maintain weight. So check your BMR, and if your BMR is, now I'm not happy because my BMR went down 1,662 calories before. The last reading I got was on the 10th. It was 1,660. Okay, that's a small change. But if you go here, for example, it was higher. Here, it was a little bit higher. Not that significant, but still better, 1,700. So your BMR can tell you a lot about your health as well. Let me tell you what ChatGPT was saying here. This is actually Copilot. It was saying here you can calculate your BMR using the formula, but here, if your BMR decreases, it means your body requires fewer calories to perform its basic functions. This can lead to weight gain if you continue to consume the same amount of calories, as the excess calories are stored as fat. You see how important it is? Symptoms of a low BMR can include unexplained weight gain, chronic fatigue, constant headaches, dry skin, hair loss, brittle nails, sugar cravings, constipation, and depression. However, I asked it about my decrease, and it was, you see here, a decrease in your basal metabolic rate from 1,700 to 1,630 per day over a month could be due to a variety of factors, changes in your body composition, decrease in muscle mass, or changes in your physical activity. So it's not exactly a cause of concern because it can naturally fluctuate and it's relatively small. But if your BMR changes significantly based on the watch's reading, it might be a good idea to consult with a healthcare professional or a dietitian. They might be able to personalize advice based on your health history and current condition. And also, guys, remember that BMR is used to calculate, for example, your diet plan, your caloric intake. These are the number of calories that you need per day minimum to stay alive, to breathe, to digest, and all these things. Apart from that, you need X amount of calories to perform the activities that you do per day. You need to do the math. How many more calories you need per day? So guys, calculating your BMR on a weekly basis is a very good idea to understand where you are right now in terms of your overall health. So that's about it, guys. These are the 10 items that I will start checking every week. All thanks to technology. Of course, this is a tech channel, and the reason I'm discussing this with you, I wanted to share this with you, is because I wanted you to benefit the most. Our love of tech is amazing. Tech can greatly enhance our lives and help us lead healthier lives thanks to advances in technology like BIA, body composition, blood pressure checking thanks to Galaxy, for example, Samsung Galaxy Watch, stress levels, VO2 Max, SpO2 averages, BMR, sleep data. Not the sleep data that we talked about, not the REM sleep, deep sleep, and all these things in the score. I'm talking about how many hours of sleep that you got. That's even more. That's the most important thing that you need to do. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you start using your fitness trackers and using technology in general to help you improve your health and wellness. And if you like this video, guys, give it a like. And if you really like this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you all lead healthy, happy, and wealthy lives. Take care.